Bull markets make yield look easy, but surviving yield in uncertain markets is a completely different game. Now, I currently have liquidity deployed on Orca on the Solana blockchain in a couple different positions, SOL USDC and SOL USDC, or excuse me, USD1. But the yield is only part of the story. Right now, you're taking a look at my Orca portfolio. Now, when people normally look at liquidity pools, they usually ask themselves one question. What's the APY of that pool? How much yield can I really make? How deep is the liquidity and how volatile is the pair? But really, what you need to be asking is what's going to happen to these things when the market moves? So, today we're going to walk through how Orca actually works, how concentrated liquidity changes my strategy, and what are the two positions I just opened up that I'm going to begin to build up. Now, this here is capital preservation first and then yield second. So, what is Orca? Orca is one of the primary DEXs on the Solana blockchain, and it uses a model known as concentrated liquidity. It means that liquidity providers choose a price range where their capital is active instead of just providing liquidity across the entirety of the range. Right now, we're taking a look at my Solana USD1 position, which is Trump's family's meme coin, or not meme coin, but stable coin. And it's sitting in $7 of profit since last night. Now, if you take a look at the range, which lies between $78.81 and $93.97, if your price stays within the range, you earn trading fees. Now, right now, those trading fees I'm earning are averaging 156% a year. But this changes by the second, by the hour. It's just constantly changing. Now, if the price goes below 78 or above $93, then I will stop earning fees. So the yield you earn depends on how wide a concentrated liquidity range you choose and also where the price moves within the range. So remember, when you're farming liquidity, you're not just farming yield, you're also underwriting the volatility of the market. So you are the counter trade to the trader. So there are two main risks when we do this. One is impermanent loss, and the other one is range risk. Now, if you take a look at this Solana USDC chart, as Solana moves up in price, and we're going to go to a much wider 10% range. Actually, we're going to go even wider than that. It's been so volatile lately. So you can visualize this a little better on the chart. We'll do 30-30. All right. So you can take a look at our chart and see that between 60 and between 112, as long as Solana stays within this price range, you will still earn yield. As you move towards the top of the range, your Solana is slowly being converted into USDC as it moves towards the right. It's kind of like taking profits on a ladder strategy as you make your way out, but it's happening on every single number. Now, if you entered the range in the middle, right? Impermanent loss is the difference between the assets you held and then your current allocation within the concentrated liquidity position, because as people trade, your asset percentages change. As you move towards the right, you're going to be more into USDC. And as you move towards the left, you're going to be converted more into Solana. Now, this can cause you to lose value within the pool. So if SOL pumps hard, that SOL is selling into USDC, and if SOL crashes, you're accumulating more SOL. So remember, if you were holding SOL, you're going to lose out on some of that price appreciation on the upside, but you'll earn fees during the process. But if you move lower, the value is also going to drop as your USDC is converted in Solana. That is why I also believe that concentrated liquidity positions can be good tools sometimes to use to dollar cost average within two price ranges. Now, the first position I really wanted to talk about is my Solana USD1 position on Orca. Now, this position actually was a lot larger last night. I have taken some capital out and I'll be putting some more back in when Solana's price goes back down to the lower end of the range. This is a fee producing position, so it is a little bit more risky. And I'm doing a slightly tighter range than my core position, which is around 17% wide. Now, this is earning around 155% right now. That's the estimated yield over a year. And we're going to keep this one just to see how long we can stay within range. Our fees are being converted to USDC and then eventually added to this position, which is a much wider range. Now, the benefit of providing concentrated liquidity is your crypto assets that are just sitting earning nothing on your hardware wallet now can actually earn yield when you put them to use, as long as you manage your risk accordingly. So, right, Solana is the base token or, layer one of their blockchain. People trade it constantly. It's paired with all the meme coins and everything else produced on the Solana blockchain. Why not provide liquidity and benefits from some of the fee capture if you're bullish on Solana? Now, let's zoom in and look at some metrics. Now, I know this will be a little hard to see, but right here you can see that this SOL USD1 position has a total value locked of $352,000. This is a smaller liquidity range. I personally don't like farming positions lower than about $250,000, but I also don't farm positions more than $1,000 or so. Now, the volume on this position is $716,000, which is a little about double our total value lock. You always want to find a pool that is averaging at least double that total value lock over a 24-hour period. That way, everyone's earning some fees. Now, the 24-hour fees on this one are $1,140. But we'll see how this position performs right now. It's printing. And I may even add some more capital into it. And I wish I would have earlier today when price of Solana was a little bit lower, but that's okay. Now, our second position is a much, much wider range. Now, this is a SOL USDC position. This is a SOL USDC position that we will probably keep for the duration of the bear. We are using this to dollar cost average into Solana, and we just opened this recently. Right now, we're keeping this at about a 35% range between $64 and $95, which is big time the range I want to buy Solana. Now, of course, we could go lower than 64. If it looks like a possibility, then I may withdraw, widen out the range even more. But so far, this one has been performing great. And we are earning approximately a 50% to 80% yield right now, 83% yield on this position. And likewise, it becomes a way that we can meet our goal. And my goal here is not chasing the highest yield possible. It's actually capturing the fees and the trading activity. So if SOL trades sideways, which it has recently, or if it's just trending either up or down moderately, this kind of position will perform very well. But here's the catch, guys. If SOL explodes higher, this strategy is kind of mute and you will lose out on some price appreciation. That's kind of the trade off that you're taking. Providing liquidity, you can earn some juicy yields, but you will lose out on some capital appreciation. Now, the next position, before we go any farther, I want to go back to the SOL position and look at our liquidity and our depth. Now, this position has a total value locked at $28 million and a 24-hour volume of $194 million. I love this as a good SOL position. It's the 0.04 concentrated liquidity position on Orca. Now, the 24-hour volume is, as you can see, way more than double 28, hence the higher yields today, and has made around $77,000 of fees within the last 24 hours. So remember, liquidity depth matters. You want that liquidity to be deep so you don't have a lot of slippage going in and out of these pools. And then likewise, you want the volume to be at least 2 times the total value locked, because deeper liquidity means lower volatility in the pool, and this improves LP stability. So my insight is to give to you is, if a pool is shallow, large trades will move that price more, and that increases LP risk. Now, so remember, I treat LP positions as satellite yield strategies, not core holdings within my portfolio. My core holdings are still my Bitcoin position, my Ethereum position, and I go in and out of Solana occasionally. Now, these LP positions, though, introduce into my portfolio trading fees and yield. But I also now have management requirements. So, taking one final look at our Orca portfolio, which we just started and is very small, but we're going to keep on back to this, see how it's doing. I am going to size these positions so I can exit without moving the market. That's why I dollar cost average into LPs a lot of times and out of LPs some of the time. Now, remember, DeFi yield always looks simpler on the surface, but realize the mechanics underneath really truly matter. If you're learning DeFi strategies, there's a free crash course below in the description. And for deeper breakdowns and portfolio updates, join our email list. And if you want to explore the tools I use, links are in the description. Now, check out our Pendle yield breakdown next, because during a bear market, fixed yield and LP yield behave very differently. And fixed yield is great to earn some added yield on top of your dry powder before you deploy. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace.